Okay, sup everyone, welcome to another video. In today's video, we're here live on YouTube and we're going to be talking about the new character Layla. Alright, now here's the thing about Layla. Before we go any further, I want to give a little bit of a framework. If you guys don't know what she does, is she's a character that provides a shield as well as a cryo off-field damage. So I was just saying this to chat, is that Layla is being released at a very interesting time. I do feel like Layla as a character is not one of those characters where you immediately be like, oh my goodness, we need this character. She has to be in the game. How come this character isn't in the game? I can't believe we waited this long to get a character such as Layla in the game. Even though she's not a crucial character, I do think she does have value, and to a certain degree I do think Hoyoverse maybe is once again testing the waters with something that I've been saying the game is starting to need. This wasn't a problem back in the day in Genshin's earlier days, but nowadays I do feel like this has become quite a problem. Is that, as you guys see on screen, we have 4 characters in a team, but it really feels like we need more slots. Right now, team slots just feel so highly contested, and oftentimes you feel like, oh, imagine if I had one more slot, a 5th slot, how good would that be to make my teams just feel that much more complete, that much more efficient, right? You want so many of these characters doing so many different things that you almost always feel like you never have enough. And Layla as a character, if you guys analyze it or just look at it, or if you guys have been keen, is that Layla feels like 2 characters combined into one. She feels like Diona and Rosaria combined into one character. And if you guys have played some more free-to-play cryo teams, you sometimes would have Diona and Rosaria on the same team, and now you don't need to really. But for people who don't want to pick up Layla, or who don't want to invest into Layla, playing Diona and Rosaria separately or on the same team is still completely viable. But it's just for those people who are a little more try hard and they want to optimize more for their teams, and they want to make sure that their characters are all performing to the maximum capability with everything that the game has to offer. And I have Shenhe here on screen. Shenhe is one of those characters that nobody would ever really say prior to her release, like, oh, we need this character. Even till this day, I wouldn't really say anybody needs Shenhe. Yes, if you're playing a predominantly cryo carry team, I would say Shenhe is a pretty valuable character to pick up. But with how cryo has been, it's also really weird that Hoyoverse chose to release a character such as Layla in the current state of the Genshin meta. Right now, Dendro is at an all-time peak. Nahida just came out, and following Nahida is going to be this, I would assume, 4-star character that pushes cryo forward. And while I say it doesn't make much sense, I can also justify likely why. It's because Dendro doesn't really have anything to do with cryo. Now, yes, Reverse Mount Ganyu is a very, very popular team with Nahida right now, but that doesn't mean cryo is heavily incentivized to be played with Dendro. So it's understandable that during this time that Hoyoverse, to throw some bones, like just to touch up things here and there, would likely release maybe cryo characters, maybe Anemo characters, and down the line, who knows, maybe patch 3.5 we'll get a Geo character. It's because, yes, the new meta is fun and exciting and all, but once in a while you do have to make sure you don't forget the other elements, especially when they're not being incentivized in the meta. Even more so, the reason for them to give it more attention, to make sure they don't fall behind when it comes to usage and also just general efficiency and power scaling, right? Not saying Layla is going to scale power, but if you guys look towards the next patch, what is happening? Double Anemo character releases. So yeah, it's the same situation, right? Because Anemo doesn't have any real synergies with Dendro, and with the game right now being so focused on Dendro, it's no surprise that Hoyoverse would want to make sure that traditional elements are not being forgotten. Now, that's a whole nother video when we talk about the double Anemo characters coming next patch, but right now, just focusing on Layla, what are some of the possibilities and playstyles that you can experiment her with, right? So here's the thing. Hydro is almost a necessity in all cryo teams, because one of the best reaction that is actually viable in Genshin Impact when it comes to cryo is freeze. Now, you can be copium and say like, oh wow, superconduct is super viable. Sure, right? If you want superconduct to be a super viable meta team comp, then be my guess. But is Layla going to be released with some sort of synergy with Dendro? Now, just because Cryo itself doesn't have any synergies with Dendro doesn't mean Cryo characters cannot be put into any teams that has a Dendro character. Case in point being Reverse Malganyu. Like I said, I keep going back to this team. Now, Layla's potential likely is going to be the duality of hybrid defense and offense in one. So she has a shield that can keep her protected, but she also has the capabilities of dishing off-field damage. In a way, if you guys scrutinize this, she also has resonance with another character, and that is Jin Yan. Now, the second I mention that is, you guys are gonna start being like, oh, no, not Jin Yan. But really look at it. Jin Yan was a character that had like triple scaling. I believe she had pyro damage scaling, she had defense scaling, and she has physical damage scaling. So like that's crazy. But Jin Yan was originally designed as a character that can protect your on-field character while dishing out some pyro DPS, while also having the potential to do burst physical damage DPS. I know, very crazy. But I think Hoyoverse has learned from their mistake with a 4-star character, especially, that they just don't have enough stats to dish out all these things at a justified level, being like, oh, I can bring this character for this because it's good enough. No, because if you want them to do all three, they're not going to be good enough to do any of them. So now, scaling that back a little bit, focusing on two things: shielding and off-field damage presence. So with Layla and potentially Nahida, very potentially, I don't think it's going to happen, but I'm just leaving it out there. There is a chance that Layla likely is a Cryo character that is designed to somehow synergize with Dendro character, but that might just be me talking copium out of my ass. So take that with a huge truck of salt. There's a good chance that Layla is just going to be paired with traditional Cryo teams. I see people in chat already saying like my Eula will like Layla. I do think so, that like maybe a traditional team such as physical carry Eula with Layla off-field Cryo application with superconduct makes that super consistent and always available to you. I don't know. This also takes away the need for Diona and Rosaria, meaning that you actually do just free up an entire slot to play whoever you want. So that's one of the main benefits, right? Like consolidating roles in a team to make teams more flexible with potentially a flex slot. With the rival Dendro being a huge EM buffer in Nahida, having a free EM buffer in your team, and I mean it doesn't even have to have synergies with Dendro, all sources of damage can proc Nahida's Tri Purification. So, you know, very copium. I know, holy crap, so copium. But it's always an option, and I think it's a great thing that Hoyoverse is trying to give us these characters that consolidate slots. And I would expect future characters to come out to do the same thing. Who knows? Maybe a character that's going to be very broken in the future is going to be a character that can do what Bennett and Xiangling do, but in one. A character that can heal you and then can also apply an insane amount of pyro at the same time. Right? Like, yeah, gonna be absolutely broken, but people, it's about time we let go of these relics from the past. Like, it's a good thing that Hoyoverse is pushing forward. Like Rosario, nobody would really say she's broken, but she's a very good cryo applicator for low spenders, free to plays, for people who are building budget cryo teams. Rosario is definitely one of the best available characters next to Kaya, who is quite literally free to play, that can apply a good amount of cryo without you having to invest into a Ganyu, right? Or something even more crazy like a Shenhe to supercharge your cryo characters. But it's time that even these characters need to relinquish their positions in even the cryo meta for other more viable characters that are more efficient, that are more up to date with the modern Genshin strategies and playstyles. We just don't have enough team slots. I honestly can say this for most elements, with exception to Mono Geo, which is just made for that specific team. You just don't have enough team slots to do the things that you want to do, to play the game the way that you want to play. I think meta should slowly just GTFO out of here, because pair any characters up however you want, as long as there's somewhat of a synergy there, you should be able to clear the contents of the game. But you know, with 4 characters per team, there's only so many things you can do with them. So I love seeing characters like Layla that comes in that can take multiple roles, put it into one. Want to see more of this. But what do you guys think, right? What do you guys think in chat? What do you guys think in the comments below? Do you think Layla is going to be a character that really does what we've described her to, or is she hiding something under the hood here, right? What's up? So yeah, going forward, looking good. I think the double Nemo character in patch 3.3 is going to be quite an interesting patch. I have something to say about them as well, but I'll leave that for another one. So thank you guys for watching. Until next time, urge y'all to stay safe and peace.